Alright, I think this is the one. You said the red blinking light, right? Whatever.
Oh, yeah, the light's on. Yeah, you got it working.
Oh, cool,
also,
great.
keep that down or you're going to attract every Romero in the area.
We are everywhere. We are nowhere. We are the dawn of a new day. We are the cure.
Also be very delicate with that, okay? The outpost is going to kill us if we break that. Those things back in the day were sacred.
I just touched it. That's it.
Be careful.
People used to just film.
No.
Subject 00928309 location, Grey Ridge Community. Date, post-fall 25 autumn, high harvest. Unknown subjects are relocating through tracked vagabond settlements. Dr. Reyes confirmed deceased. Operative Switchblade active and embedded in survival community known as the Citadel. Viral tracking out of hand, we have lost our handle on the Penn region. Salt the earth.
Pretty in Pink was not what you would call a documentary. I just need you to get that through your head before you think things that are not true.
Subject 00928313 location, Homefront 0 crime. Date, post-fall 25 autumn, high harvest. Retention high in new subjects. Viral evolution confirmed in all 87 test subjects. Black bile active and mutated. Variant revenants more active in Penn region than Western Front. Black zones reveal further evolutions. No antigen carriers located at this time.
You were a movie star. I mean, you're pretty enough to be one for sure.
I was neither rich nor a movie star, Stacy, but thank you very much for that. No, I did other things.
So like, what?
We are everywhere. We are nowhere. We are the dawn of a new day. We are the cure.
Through the day, but at the end, when you look around, maybe not. But if thinking that helps you, maybe it's not a bad idea to anything.
And so we will begin with a fading memory. A bright fire flickers over a night sky. Pinpoints of light stretch out above. A large, pale, full moon lends its light in these dark times. The shattered remains of Pittsburgh are far, far in the distance. Jagged, broken skyscrapers are seen from the hills and the mountains that surround it. An encampment. Warmth. Light. Security. Hope. All are held alive here as the darkness is being held at bay. And Lampwick, you look up from the fire. You're holding in your arms an infant child. Can you describe yourself and her, please?
Yeah. So the Lampwick before you is tall, 6 feet tall, maybe just a little bit above. Good frame, some chiseled features. Because of the apocalypse, he's toned, lost a little bit of weight, but you can see on his frame that this is a healthy, athletic person. Dark hair, light brown skin, and he's holding an infant girl that he had acquired and calls his daughter.
She coos. She reaches her hand up, and the tiny, pudgy little hand brushes across your beard. She's smiling. Her eyes are bright. Other survivors are moving around in the campground, but they don't have any faces. There's only a blur where their features should be. And they don't walk like normal people walk. They don't walk the way that you remember. There's a jagged brokenness to the way that they're moving around the campfire, but they pay you little mind. What do you do?
I'm holding the baby, and I can see in my periphery these figures moving around, but they don't matter right now. What matters to me is my child, and I pick her up and I bring her closer to my face, pressing my forehead against hers, and I smell her. I don't want to forget the way she smells, that baby smell.
As you do, her small form turns to ash in your hands and crumbles through your fingers, and you're unable to hold as she falls apart, burnt away, caught in the wind before you in this campfire. The campfire immediately burns low, and you feel it rising inside your chest. The snake, like coils, wrapping around your innards as it begins to force its way out. Your eyes go black, your skin no longer living, it's pale with veins that have worked themselves like vines across you, stretched out across your arms and your hands as you hold this ash that you cannot hold for long. As it breaks away, your mouth is dry. Moments before, the tentacles break forth, splitting your face in half. They emerge and begin writhing, twisting, and you feel a hand on your shoulder.
grab it. And I squeeze.
You recognize the hand immediately. The ragged coat. You know it's Achira.
I whip around.
There's only a shadow, but you know it's her.
I reach out and I try to grab it and pull it in.
I need you to make a composure roll.
That's a 21 over 46. It's 2 degrees of success.
You hold on to the moment, though you feel yourself breaking out of this memory, this dream, this nightmare.
If Achira is right in front of me, I don't care what form she's in, I'm gonna try to grab onto whatever I can. And if I'm going somewhere else, then I'm gonna try to take whatever I can with me.
Achira reaches up, touches the side of your broken face, and you feel her tears. As the moment returns to you and you're inside the cabin, your meal is spread out, broken before you. The table is destroyed. Everything in the room has been wrecked. You hear gunshots somewhere in the distance. Quick, fast shots. Tap, tap. And then silence.
Who's in the room with me?
There are 2 of the dead, but they have been broken and lie on the floor. The door is wide open, snow and cold blows in, and you see the swarm of Romeros, the dead, standing there, stretching out throughout Babylon. An abandoned Christian camp that you have taken as your own. They all seem to be staring directly at you. All of them at once.
I rush outside and I pull the hood over my head.
You're barefooted. You break through the snow. It doesn't affect you, though there is that dull sense, that dull reminder of pain, now a fleeting memory to you. You continue running forward. And somewhere in those woods, Polly, you couldn't hear it, but you see the lasers red moving across the now destroyed Romero that you knew in life as Zippy, a sister, friend, and companion that had lived with you for many, many years. The closest thing that you had to family is now dead before you, black ichor pouring from their broken skull in the snow. And while you cannot hear anything, Spike is moving in front of you, biting at your ankles, grabbing onto your pant leg, trying to pull you away. What do you do?
First off, I hit the ground. Don't care that there's snow on it. I don't know who's out in these woods. I have to clamp my hand over my mouth to not scream, because even though I won't be able to hear it, I know that whoever just shot that definitely will.
You drop to the ground, and I'd like for you to make a stealth roll for me.
Okay.
So that you and everyone here at the table is aware, we have already received support from beyond.
So I got a 66. My stealth is 46. So I am going to spend 3 points from the pool to make that one success.
You have 2 degrees of failure. You're going to spin 3.
Mm-hmm.
And you're spinning from the communal pool.
I am.
There are currently 19 points available. However, my risk is currently at 199,
Yeah, I've been looking at that.
and I'm going to spend 100 of them.
Shit. Oh, now you have less.
Wasn't the Grey Ridge Massacre 150 spent? It was something like
Don't.
You have 1 degree of success. Are you sure you would like to just have 1 degree of success before we move forward? You have succeeded in remaining unseen, but the question is, are you better than your opponents?
Right. I will spend 1 more communal and 1 more of my own.
Bringing you to 3 degrees of success. Which isn't good enough. I have 5 degrees of success.
Yes, you do.
On a search. The laser points start moving across the snow. You are staring on the ground, your face frozen in the ice as snow seeps around you. What little warmth is left in your body, melting it, holding your mouth, trying to remain quiet as the small, shaggy dog, Spike, pulls close to you, protectively, growling low.
Pull him real close, try to keep him down as well.
You keep Spike low, and you realize, staring into the dead eyes of Zippy lying right across from you. Empty eyes that bore through you. And the laser points move slowly across the snow, directly onto you.
I stand as quickly as I can and put my hands up in the air.
As you do, I'd like for you to make a spot listen check, Lampwick.
Mm-hmm.
At any point, you can say, I voluntarily fail my composure. If you do, you will lose control of your character, and I will determine the results.
Spot listen first, yes.
Yes.
I fail.
Oh, shit.
Sure.
That's 5 degrees of failure.
Yeah.
The memory is thick. You can smell Achira. You feel her tears still on your hand as you stumble through the dead that surround you. Hundreds of them just staring at you as you push through the snow out of this broken cabin into Babylon, and you feel a hand take yours.
Is it familiar?
Yes.
I say, were there shots? I heard shots. Was that real?
The face of a dirty, starved young boy meets your eyes. Someone's here, Father. Someone wishes to take our sanctuary. Help us, Father. We pray to you. The little boy takes your hand and presses it against his forehead, and you see some of the other living in rags walking out. And a woman is dragging someone behind her, bound in ropes. The battered figure of another of the oppressors.
I want to get a look at who that might be.
You had captured him weeks ago. One of the holdouts from the Citadel. Torturing and killing. They didn't leave anyone alive in the small community and had taken everything. You ate most of them, broke their necks. This one you kept alive. He's still wearing the ragged bits of his uniform. He's more emaciated, terrified, as he's pulled forward on the ropes. Your followers are strong despite their appearances. And he drops into the snow, blubbering, as the woman takes a knife and moves downward to cut the ropes free.
Wait. I approach.
As you wish, Father.
And I lean down and I get close to his face. And I say to him, "Are your people here? Have they come for you?"
Fuck you. The Citadel wouldn't be fucking here. They don't give a shit about this fucking graveyard. And if I get out of here, you better believe I'll come back. So you better fucking kill me. Stop this mouse and cat shit right now and end my fucking life.
I smack him. And I turn to the woman and I say, "Were there shots? Was that real?"
Yes, Father. It was real.
"We're under attack.
Yes, Father.
Then we're gonna fight."
Yes, Father.
I turn to the group of the dead and I shout, "Fight!"
There's a rumble as the dead stop staring and they turn and start moving. And somewhere in the masses around you, you hear as something awakens. And from all of the dead that shamble, there are two quick, low, dark figures that run across the snow with unbelievable speed. Barely human, with elongated limbs. They push their way through the horde as it starts to surge up towards the place where the gunshots were. And those that live of your followers fall to the ground, tears in their eyes as they pray.
I grab the Citadel prisoner, and the woman that brought him, if she's dropped on the ground and started praying, I basically hand him off to her, and I say, "Make him watch, make him learn," and I leave.
Achira, you're in the dark. You're below ground. You're in a section of the Pine Haven shopping center that you've never seen before. In this break room that was a sanctuary and a storehouse for one of the wildlings that you had brought into this place. A little hidden stash of now worthless material has been left behind, but dial-up had left her mark. Graffiti everywhere. There was no question about who owned this place. And behind the fridge in the break room was a hole that had been burrowed through the concrete into access tunnels that led you down. You are traveling now with a number of wildlings that you have trained. Camila Cervantes travels alongside you. The pale light of your flashlight illuminates her sword which is now part of her arm, having lost that not so long ago. She has a gun drawn, a pistol. The others are carrying various bladed weapons, moving quietly behind you as you move down the ladder and into what looks like an enormous sewer access pipe. But what you see are the dead, chained to the wall. Someone has used them like a security system. As the chains clatter. What do you do?
Do I have sugar with me? Sugar DT?
DT and Sugar are with you. However, both of them are slowly navigating the ladder. You hear DT standing there. Sugar, it's okay. You just one after the other like I showed you. I hate walls too. We won't be here for long. I have what I came for. And she sort of lovingly touches the jacket that she's now wearing. It's a heavy leather coat that you had given over to her. Sugar, to your surprise, is navigating the rungs of the ladder, one after the other. A clatter of beads and bright, colorful fabric have been tattered across her. She looks more like a doll or a scarecrow made out of a corpse. But eventually she makes it down, and DT beams wildly with pride and looks back to you. See? Sugar knows. Sugar's good.
I'll be honest, part of me was hoping she wouldn't be able to, because even though it's Sugar, I wasn't ready for Romero to have that kind of awareness and self-control and mobility. Well done, the both of you.
Sugar's good at lots of things. You'll see.
Achira would step over to Camilla. I can't believe this is dial-up, but it has to be. I see the tags on the wall. I mean, I know she was spending a lot of time by herself. It was her or she was with Declan, but this is... What is this?
Yeah.
And what are they protecting?
I don't think this was just dial-up, Achira. I don't think it could be. I think there's something else here, and look, I know you're worried, but I think Polly can take care of herself. We need to get back to Faith.
Polly is a priority. You know that, Camilla. She'd make me a priority.
You know as well as I do the rules. What's best for all of us, not just one.
Well, we have to go back with something other than this. There's more. I know we need to report to Faith so that she knows that this is here, this right here underneath us.
TV shouts out just a little ways down in the tunnel closer to one of the Romeros that's been chained up as it sort of grabs at TV. However, the wild child is bent over and you sort of see him look back at you. There are dog tracks here. I think it's Spike. Right size. And there's 2 other sets of tracks as well. One looks like Polly's boots. The other's walking with a limp, and I don't recognize it.
You don't recognize it?
Not these shoe tracks.
Could have been one of the invaders that came in, but then how would they know this tunnel so well? Couldn't be Declan. Well,
Couldn't it?
better not be.
It leads down the tunnel, probably out. I'm feeling cold air. The others are sort of scouting about now. Bebe looks back to you. We could go scout for you, Achira. We could look. We could find, careful, a way and see them if they're there and then come back. They won't find us. We'll be unseen.
You're really good at that, Bebe. I'm not my best right now. And Achira is still cradling her arm to herself and is kind of listening off to the side a bit.
You've been through a lot.
Go ahead and scout ahead. Don't be seen. Be quiet. Be quick. Be back.
I'd like for you to make a leadership roll.
That is not her strong point.
Your leadership success or failure here is going to determine if these children of the apocalypse are well prepared or if they're not entirely heartened by what you say.
I got an 80. My command is a 35. So that's automatic.
5 degrees of failure, catastrophic failure, in fact. You say it, and it's clear that there's a weakness in your voice. Do you wish to do anything about it? You have 17 competency remaining in the communal pool, although the night's just begun.
I can't send them off to have something happen to them because I'm weak right now. I will utilize. Okay, so there's a bunch of zombies snapping at us with chains rattling. We're in the dark. It's like the sewers. Is this a location hazard?
It is not. Would you like for it to be?
No, you don't have to. You don't have to utilize that risk.
Set that
I'm
up.
just like, no, I can see like some chains snapping or something. It's.
I could spin risk and make that happen.
No. You've got It's a long.
Got a lot
night.
on your plate.
It's a long night, Knox. I'll utilize 3 of my own. Ouch. And 4 of the community pool, which make it 2 degrees of success. Ouch. Okay, that's what we're doing.
The community has been very generous. In fact, I've noticed now that there's been another supply drop for Babylon, which means that there are not 2 dark figures that have erupted from this horde, but 3. Your supply drops are different.
I like those supply drops.
Oh, God. Oh, gosh.
Achira, as you've noted, there are these dead that have been tethered here. There are security systems, certainly nothing that you couldn't handle very quickly. In fact, it's more of what they represent that is dangerous rather than them themselves. Someone has put thought into this place. And the 3 wild children of the apocalypse that you've trained head off, scouting forward. You, Cammy, and the others are together. What would you like to do?
It wouldn't help anything for us to stay here. They know to come back. So I guess we should report this so that Faith knows what's going on. This is so messed up. This is not good in any way, shape, or form.
Meanwhile, above ground, Faith, you have been managing the cleanup of your community. Pine Haven has been under attack. Outside forces have attempted to make it seem as though Silent Sentinels, soldiers within the army of the Shepherds, had attacked this place, but they were false sentinels. were not a part of that organization. In fact, it seemed as though someone was either trying to frighten your group or trying to enrage you into action. They are all dead now. However, the damage that they've done remains. You've been in your office looking out over this collection of people, now only about 25 living bodies under your care. The gardens and the escalator have been destroyed by dial-ups, explosives. There are breaches in the barricades that were set to keep the south gate closed off. Many of the dead travel down from the mountains and the forest and gather there in the parking lots and eventually filter their way through the myriad of broken holes and gaps that are within the concrete walls of that shattered portion of the mall. However, this place is enormous, a super mall in an age where commerce was able to sustain this sort of place. However, it's remote. Any small town that was nearby has been picked clean and mostly given back to nature. There are still some buildings on the outskirts, but this is the only bastion of civilization for many, many miles. As you look out over your surviving community as they build and board up gaps within those walls, you see the dead on the other side of fencing starting to gather again outside. The radio shack is still smoldering, destroyed, along with Declan and a number of others that seem to have defected from your group. Apparently they were traitors. You watched the video over and over again in your office, and now you're just staring. What would you like to do?
I'd like to go over, I feel like at this point I would have some lists collated of everything that was found on the bodies of the ones that were dressed like the Sentinels. If there are any papers, anything on them that would denote who they were, where they were from, what community they were from. Basically going over evidence. So anything that was collected from them, those lists, looking over who was missing versus who was dead. So looking at that group of defectors and seeing if there's anything in common with the information that we have.
One of your more trusted members of your group, named Jack Boot, Jack to his friends, of which he has few of, rugged old Citadel soldier that defected many, many years ago. You knew Jack from a lot of your past, your shared past in the Citadel. They were harsh, and Jack didn't sit well with some of the things that the Citadel was doing long before you decided that you were finished with that community. However, he was ostracized, pushed away. He's a larger man, heavily built, but muscular. In the face, he looks a lot like what you've come to know is called Santa Claus. He's got a red face and a gray-white beard and bald on the top with curly long hair that's been braided, but he never smiles. He sort of just glowers, and he's got these big, white, bushy eyebrows that hide these beady, dark eyes, and he's silently judging everyone who walks into his field of vision. However, he's never given up many of the affectations of the Citadel. He's still heavily armored. He wears his old Citadel gear, although he's scraped off any of the symbols, the skull that the Citadel uses, and he's not replaced it with anything else. He and some of the others, a young woman named Iz and an older Echo named Rickett, have done what you asked. They've gathered together a list of everything that was found, and it's not very much. They had their weapons, and they had these suits that were too new to be real. Some of them had the speakers that were attached to them that they used to drive the dead in. But there's no identifying marks other than the tattoos and the piercings that many of them had. They seem rougher than anyone that's ever come from the Shepherds. In total, though, your community has gathered together a fair amount of ammunition and a few automatic weapons. Jack looks to you. I've done my best. I can't really say that they left us much to go on. And what they did leave, Dial-Up took care of in those damned explosions.
Right. This all doesn't make any sense, but I mean, if we can't find any clues, if we can't figure out who these people are, then do we just sit here and wait for them to come back? I don't know. There's a lot of weird shit going on here, Jack.
Yeah. I assume you're gonna have orders for us.
Yeah.
We can set up perimeters, increase the watch, but you know, we're down about seven of us dead because of all this. And now you've got Achira out running around. I mean, she's one of our best fighters. Along with Cammy. I mean, Cammy's the best shot we've got. I'm not saying that you're making a wrong choice. I don't think outside of my box. But let me tell you this. You're right. They might come back. They aren't gonna let this go. Whatever brought them here, it ain't something that's just gonna go away. We have to find out what they wanted.
Did I tell you about that? Did you guys already check out the tower on the roof of the building?
There's not much of that left.
Yeah.
Achira solved that.
I guess what I'm trying to say is, if they had a coordinated attack on us with these Romeros, with bombs, and they're dressed like sentinels, I still can't put the pieces together of why they would do both of those things together. Why does it matter what group they're part of? Why does it matter that, I don't know, they could have done so many other things. I mean, they got in effectively. They killed about a third of us.
If they wanted to piss us off, they would have looked like Citadel. That would have been more believable. We wouldn't have questioned that.
Yeah. And
Why the freaks? Why the pastors and missionaries? I don't get it.
Well, the last time a lot of the founders of this group saw those people were right before we came here. Maybe they're trying to make us remember that we escaped the battle of this Three Rivers Stadium. I don't know why they would want that.
Is standing there. Is a young woman, sort of a tomboy, super ripped, muscular, short hair, raised in the cavalry. And the cavalry has been scattered right now. They were really good with horses. And is one of the people that maintain your stables and the livestock that you've been able to keep. But is sort of like tips back her cowboy hat and looks at you. I don't know. If I had to put money on it, I'd say they were trying to scare us. But why?
I think this... Shit. They want us to leave.
They want what we got.
Well, they want us to leave because of... And I take that bulletin board that's on the wall, and I flip it over to show... it's a record of all the places we've been searching for the tunnels or the stash of the thing that Kusanagi had been telling us about. We have been keeping track of that this whole time.
All right, and so because you've been doing this and we've not really dealt with it yet, you've got a conspiracy board that you've been gathering. Do you want to describe what sort of material you've found and what you would have gathered on there? And then, depending on your description, I'm going to give you a bonus to your roll that I'm about to have you make.
Oof. The board, it's a large pin board. There's lots of cool red rope that I found. But basically it's connecting any sort of underground passageways with any like signs of where there's a lot of electrical like items. They noted, they mentioned like it would be some sort of facility or something like that. So there'd have to be a way for air to get down there, for electric to run. And it would have been worked on extensively. So anything that seems like would have access to those things, but also when making a blueprint of this place, basically figuring out where there's holes in the map. Like if there's like a story here and a story here and like nothing in the middle, then is there a wall that goes in between that? Does it lead outside? So it's sort of just a very slow map going, I would say, like from the middle out of exploring this whole facility.
I'm going to have you make a search check, and the number of successes that you have are going to represent the amount of time over the past year that you spent looking for this and what you've eliminated. So the more successes that you have, the better this is going to be for you.
That is an 8 over
good.
43. So that's 4 degrees.
Yeah, so you have 4 degrees of success right off the bat. That's already a critical success. Do you want to spend one and make it 5?
Yeah, why not? I'll use my personal stash.
You're going to use a personal competency point to make this 5 degrees. So you've actually gotten pretty close in eliminating options. What seems to be below the mall itself are a series of sewer tunnels. Now, you've not sent many people down there because they're dangerous, and a lot of them have caved in. A lot of dead ends, a lot of really dark and Romero-infested corridors. You've mostly only made sure that everything within the north gate area of the shopping center is completely clear. You're certain that North Gate is not the location of any underground bunker or base. If there is anything located at Pine Haven and not just off of site somewhere, it's going to be in Southgate.
So I show them this board. Look, I hope I can trust you three, but this is essentially what we were looking for, and stupid me, I was listening to Kusanagi this whole time, and he was the one leading the techies, and they're the ones who are missing. So I feel like they got close enough to knowing the answer that they decided to try to get rid of all of us, to get us to leave.
You said Kusanagi, but I believe that you meant Declan, correct?
Right, yeah.
Yeah, so Declan. Jack looks at you and nods, and Iz and Rickett are listening. Well, about that, you know, we've got defectors. Should we do something about that? And as he says that, you see figures walking up. Achira, you and the others are coming back up the escalator into the scene.
Faith, we discovered something.
I don't see Polly with you, so I don't think it's good.
I am going to be going back out. We will be getting Polly, but this is big. Otherwise, you know I wouldn't be back right now.
Yeah, you tend to just leave when you want.
Jealous. Achira's going to take Faith over to side. Achira, Faith, and Cammy. I have never been to this part of the mall before. I didn't even know that it existed. It's not anywhere near where we usually are or where we've been looking. It's sewer tunnels filled with a security system of the dead, chained to the walls, kind of like a deterrent and also an alarm. We didn't go too far in. Blossom Bebe and TV scouted ahead. Polly was down there. So was Spike. And somebody else. Someone TV didn't recognize their tracks. TV recognizes everyone's tracks. They had no idea who this was.
Okay. I think we have to assume that's whoever was working with the techies to blow this fucking place up. I don't know.
Maybe they were leading Declan.
It's possible. I mean, well, we know Polly wouldn't leave by themselves just for fun, so I think they were taken by somebody.
Not by force. There's no way. From looking at the marks on the ground, they weren't being dragged. You know, I mean, yes, avoiding the dead that was down there, but the dog's tracks weren't very excited. That wasn't a struggle. That was something else, and I don't know. I don't know what it is. But whoever that person was, they They were sure of their footing. They knew that area.
Do you think... Well, hold on. Was there any sign of dial-up?
There were a lot of signs of dial-up. Dial-up knew about that area. Her tags were everywhere.
Okay.
I couldn't find her. There was a very large puddle of blood outside of the break room, but no dial-up. And TV didn't say anything about her tracks in that tunnel.
Okay, more mysteries. But it does sound like, I don't know, if Polly wasn't taken by force, then I think they just made a decision. And they're gone now. But
She wouldn't do that.
I don't know what's going on
There
anymore.
had to be something else. Maybe.
Look, Achira, Cammy speaks up. I know that these kids mean a lot to you, but you've done everything you can for them. At some point, you have to trust that what you've taught them is going to keep them alive. We can't risk what little resources we have here to save one person. We never do that. You know we have to let Polly go for now.
Except you can't trust kids to survive, no matter how much you teach them. You can't trust that.
Sure. Cammy's right, and I hate saying that, especially about Cammy, but I think Polly will come back to us on their own. Or we can spend some time looking and tracking, but we have a bigger problem here with our home being invaded, and those people are gonna come back. They wanted us to leave. They're looking for this bunker, that thing that Marcus and I kept talking about over and over again.
Blockbuster's bunker.
Yes. And I think we kind of know where it is. There's only 25 left of us in this community left. One more attack we would definitely have to leave.
If we had that bunker, we wouldn't have to.
Whatever's in there is important. I don't know if it's going to be important to us, but apparently it's going to decide whether we live or die.
I remember hearing about it. This Blockbuster nut had a lot. A military complex, self-sustaining. Everything you would need to start anew. Self-powered generators, not having to fight over diesel, not having to scrounge to put together shitty batteries that don't work, being able to defend ourselves behind real walls, not these crumbling shitholes. She kicks the wall and almost to prove her point, like plaster kind of falls off part of Faith's office.
Having somewhere proper to defend, so then when the rest of us go out and kill every last one of them, we'll have something to come back to.
Well, yes, that. Well, whether or not we were attacked, we were running out of supplies. So if this place really exists, it would behoove us to go and try to find it.
I wasn't listening in, but on that point, our food resources, they bombed that, along
right.
with the generator, so we don't have power, and we've got maybe a week's rations for everybody here. Just so you know. I'm gonna go back to work.
Okay, if your group can, I think we need to consolidate where our living spaces are for now to conserve power and to be able to keep secure a smaller perimeter. Let's all try to keep closer to the south area, effectively having our living spaces. But in the meantime, while you all do that, I think we need to go look for this bunker.
We didn't go too far in, but I think that's
One and the same?
That's literally the best thing that we can do right now. And all I can think of is that Polly chose to go with whoever that was. I don't know how or why, but I have to trust that for now. I'll give it a little bit of time.
She knows the radio codes. She'll be able to get through to us if she can find a working radio, if nothing else.
If she doesn't get back to us within a week, I'm going out alone or whatever, but I'm getting her back.
All right, let's just see what happens when your kids come back with whatever they're going to find out there. Meanwhile, red laser light burrows through you. It doesn't hurt, Polly, but you can certainly feel it moving about. And you know for a fact that they see you. You can't hear anything. And you see movement in the tree line, and Spike raises the hackles on the back of his fur, and they're frosted over and covered in snow, and you feel his body, the growling rumbles under his warm fur. You keep staring, looking past Zippy, as a figure emerges from the tree line.
Do I know this figure?
You've never seen anything like him. Covered in white armor. A masked figure with a very large rifle steps closer to you. The mask is some sort of gas mask, but it's been built into this helmet that looks like a skull. Dark black lenses cover the eyes. You don't even know how far away the figure is because they look enormous to you from here as they cautiously and carefully move forward with this laser still pointed on you. They move the way that you've seen Faith move, with a certain precision, a certain military understanding. And you see that there's a second laser point that's upon you. What would you like to do as you raise your hands?
I call out to the figure. I don't have any weapons and I can't hear.
You have no idea if the figure responds. You cannot see their face. All you can see is the pinpoint of light. That laser. They're unmarked. This armor is clean and new. They don't look ragged or lost or broken. You've never seen anything like this. And then you notice the small black heart emblazoned on the chest of the armor. Writing that you don't understand, numbers maybe over it. And the figure gets closer as the other light travels around you. Whoever else has you within their sights, they're moving about you. And then there's a quick, unimaginable blur that descends out of the tree line as a figure leaps down and tackles the white-armored figure. Both roll into the snow as gunfire blazes right past your head.
Oh, God.
The light on you, the second light, immediately moves to the figure and fills it with gunfire. You can't hear any of this, but you see all of it as the armor absorbs the gunfire that sprays over it as whatever this thing is, this long-limbed, strange, dead, naked figure, wraps itself around with enormous claws and starts thrashing at the skull and the helmet of this figure. What do you do?
So the red lights that were coming towards me, were they coming from the direction that I was headed, or were they only coming from around me?
They were coming from around you. The direction that you were headed is where they came from.
Fuck. I grab Spike, I get low to the ground, and we try to head back in the direction that we came from.
I'd like for you to make a roll.
Yeah.
As another figure leaps over you out of the tree line. You didn't, of course, hear it. You just saw this blur, this dark shadow, and now you see it more closely as it moves past you. Dark black eyes, like an animal's, enormous. A dislocated jaw that hangs off of a dead human face. The nose has rescinded back and the flesh is pulled taut and has a waxy, translucent appearance with veins of black that work their way all through the enormous naked form of what was once a woman. Their limbs are twice as long as they should be, and their fingers, outstretched, are like talons of some strange bird. Rather than normal teeth, there are jagged, broken things that jut out at odd angles, and it smells of decay and rot. It leaps past you and moves. I need you to roll either a stealth or an endurance. Now, before you make your choice, I'd like for you to be perfectly clear. Endurance means that you sprint and run quickly away, hoping to not draw the attention of your attacker. Stealth means that you move much more slowly, but you remain as hidden as possible.
Right. I really think I want to remain hidden in this situation. I know that it's not safe to be here, but I also can't hear, so running is really dangerous right now. Okay.
It's an 11.
Out of 46. That is
3 degrees of success
3
right off
degrees
the
of
bat.
success.
Would you like to spend additional competency to make that even higher? Given that you know your opponents have abilities that allow them to find things very easily.
Oh, God. I will use 1 personal to make it 4.
4 degrees of success. You duck, you cover, you begin moving through the tree line. You don't know how long you move. It's cold and you can't hear anything, but you can see everything. And it's, even though in this short period of time since you've been awake and conscious, your other senses are on fire. It's like everything you touch is more vivid. Everything that you see is brighter. Everything that you smell is stronger. Even the tastes in your mouth seem to be more powerful than they've ever been before. You are holding onto this warm, shaggy mutt as you push forward with nothing to your name, no weapons, cold. And you run into a figure. You drop to the ground. You didn't see the figure. You don't know where it came from, but it's Lampwick. Lampwick, make a composure check.
Ha ha ha. 34 over 46.
A single degree of success.
Mhm.
Would you like to amplify that?
I'll throw in 1 of mine and 1 communal.
3 degrees of success. You hold tight to your humanity. Polly, it is Lampwick, but his eyes are just like those of the creature that ran past you, fully black, like an animal's. There's a network of black veins that are stretched across his pale face. He's drooling, but As soon as he bumps into you, it's as if his attention snaps back to you and is fully aware.
Do I recognize Polly?
You do.
Go home.
I got her killed. I didn't mean to, and I...
Where? Where?
What?
Where?
I point.
I run in that direction.
Lampwick runs towards the site of the battle. Polly, you see sparks in the night, flashes. Lampwick, you hear the gunfire and the shrieks of your children. There's a figure on the ground. The armor's been broken. One of your children is pulling their innards out from inside the armor, and you see the intestines hot, spray across the snow, gore everywhere, the smell of it filling you with hunger. Polly, you're pushing forward as you run back into Babylon. Hordes of the dead walk past you and ignore you. Slowly they shamble as they move after Lampwick in a lake of corpses.
And they're all leaving.
Yeah. And you're alone in Babylon. What do you do?
Did I see where Jacob got the candles from when Lampwick was showing me around?
You did.
Can I go try to loot that area?
You start moving towards a large, abandoned-looking house.
Oh.
Oh my god.
You walk onto the porch, and you slowly make your way towards the door that you saw Jacob come out of. You're here, and the floorboards underneath you creak wildly. The door is unlocked, and it's dark inside. What do you do?
Before I go in, I'm going to take a moment and see. Spike has things on his pack. I'm going to look through them and see if there's anything here that could help me.
You start looking through the packs that have been attached to the dog by dial-up. You do find some useful items, but as you're searching, you hear an old record player. You don't hear anything, but you hear an old record player.
Can I tell where it's coming from?
Everywhere. All around you. It's a broken sound, like wax on a cylinder. And you hear an old voice on that record. And then it's silence again. And you think it was just in your mind. We'll be right back. Faith, you've gathered together the resources that you have at your disposal. You have a fairly remarkable arsenal given the situation. You have supplies. Achira, you've also managed to gather together a good number of weapons that you have, both in a personal stash that you keep within the shopping plaza and also on your person. if the two of you are gathering together resources and people to make an active search within the Pine Haven shopping center for this this bomb shelter, I would like for you to tell me how you're doing that. Now, to be clear, you've been here for a year, your community has lived here, and you've made various attempts, and none of them have really given you any indication that these myths and these legends were real. There doesn't seem to be anything below the mall itself except for sewer pipes.
Was the area that Achira discovered in the south part or somewhere different?
It is in the South Gate.
Well, I think we would start there since it's a new underground area we haven't seen yet. And it looks like people have gone through there and not come back out.
Who are you taking with you, and are you taking any special equipment? I will remind you that your food stores, your power generation, and many of your specific storage supply spaces within the mall have been destroyed by the attack.
Achira has a very bad memory of a prior experience of being buried alive, so she would be going with as much food as possible. She nearly starved to death.
Is this a private stash of supplies that you have, or are you taking this from the communal pool?
I think this would be a private stash, like not only hers, but I think that she would probably raid Polly's as well, because I think they had access to each other's, yeah.
So you're going to go into the Claires and you're going to gather together some resources.
Yes.
All right, you start moving in that direction. Faith, what do you do to prepare?
In terms of, leaving people alone up here for what I assume is going to be a few hours, but I know how these things go and it could be a couple of days. I would love to take Camilla with me, but I decided to put her in charge, her and Jackboot. Also because I can't watch her son like I promised I would do whenever she's away, so it's basically me or her.
Camilla argues with you for a little while, but eventually gives up. The argument that she's making is that you're the leader, and that if you're gone or if anything happens to you, this place falls apart. However, eventually, if you persist, she accepts the responsibility and promises to work with Jackboot as best as possible to keep things together while people rebuild and gather resources.
Okay. Along with the prior orders I gave to sort of condense down the community a bit so that we're not spread across this entire mall. It's more of just maybe picking out one of these colors, like essentially on the map, and stationing there until we can start to rebuild a little better.
The majority of your living quarters are within the green section of the map. So if you look at the map here, this area around the yellow and the green is mostly where people reside. You can see that central circle right there, and that is where the gardens and the escalators are. To give you some sense of size, that circle is probably about 20 feet in diameter. So it is a massive mall, as I said before.
So I would probably tell them to maybe condense down to just like this main square for now.
Sure.
To sort of avoid, Romero's just kind of popping up around corners.
I think knowing who Faith is, I think you've had plenty of contingency plans, right? And so I think you're all falling back into some sort of emergency shelters that were sort of secreted away. And so it looks kind of like the community has been abandoned, but it hasn't been.
And then whatever, for us, I would say the group would be probably some of your wild children's.
Yeah, did Blossom, Bebe, and TV come back yet?
They are not back yet.
Okay. Some of the other crew that survived, it's a little bit of a massacre.
Right.
That's okay. We're going to tag
A
them
fair
back.
number of the wildlings are dead, and some of the leaders of that group also dead.
Yeah, like Sweetums.
Yeah, and you've then had defectors that have left. There are a few people here that are still active. You're not particularly close with many of them. I mean, any closer than you might be with, neighbors at this point. But Rickett is Jackboot. You've got both Penny and Robinson, the children that are close to Camilla. A few others that are working about, but none of them have been particularly trained by you or have close relationships with you.
We have DT, Sugar, when Blossom, Bebe, and TV come back. we have them.
Well, hopefully we'll run into them. We're going down that same direction.
So yeah, you guys move down the escalator and you go to the Claire's and you find DT and Sugar inside of it. Sugar is seated on the ground and is doing something. You can't see, but it looks like their hands are moving as their tongue sort of like lolls out of the gash of their neck, hanging there as their dead eyes are fixed on something in their hands. And DT is spinning around in a broken mirror that's being held up by two mannequins, looking at the jacket, and you can see that she has already begun to paint white stripes on the arms of the leather jacket.
It looks good on you.
I like it, thank you.
We're going to go back to where we were before. There's something down there, a large enclosed room that belonged to somebody else that is filled with things like this, filled with jackets and scarves and shoes. Good shoes.
I will take the shoes. And I'll take this. And she holds a broken half of a mannequin head.
Yeah, go for it. All yours.
That was one of Polly's most prized possessions, so it's very helpful to us if...
I've laid claim on it now, and Polly is not here, so I will take it.
Okay, yeah.
You notice now what Sugar's doing. She has a needle and a thread, and she's stringing beads.
Oh my God. Faith, is that happening right now?
Yeah.
Is a Romero putting together a bracelet
Sugar is
with their hands?
doing arts and crafts. Is what's happening over there. Okay, all right.
And Sugar holds up a string of beads, and you see like kind of dingy pinks and glittery silvers and things. Oh, she's giving you a gift.
Me or Achira?
You. And she points to you.
Achira just
Faith.
kind of backs away.
Thank you.
She worked hard on it. You should take it.
Okay, all right, yep, got it. Thank you. Okay, so do you think you're gonna go with us then to the land of shoes and jackets?
I said I would.
Okay, just...
I'll bring Sugar with me, though. No one here is going to hurt my sister.
We kept our end of that. And thank you for both the... Sorry, I am so weirded out.
It's a little weird. It's definitely a little weird.
Thank you for your company, both of you. We appreciate it.
DT picks up a sharpened miner's pick that has been attached to a longer pole and also painted with black and white stripes. It has some fringes on the bottom, and puts it up to her shoulder, gathers up her pack, and her sister just sort of stands up and starts following her as she walks out. You said you were gathering some food. It looks like someone has been searching through Polly's things. What would you like to do?
Okay. Well, that's one of the things with wildlings. You know, finders keepers. They're a big one with that. Watch your pack, by the way. Sleep on top of it.
All right.
That's okay. This isn't Polly's primary stash. It's just this way. And Achira's gonna go to the back, and you know the walls, the shelving that's in Claire's, where it has like all those multiple
Slots?
It's like those dots that they put the
Walls.
shelves on.
Yeah.
Yeah. So going to remove a section of that and lift it away. And then that's Polly's like hidey hole.
Yeah, the hidey hole is another thing that wildlings do really well, is they protect their
Honor
stuff.
me.
Yeah. So there's a hidey hole, and I'm going to say that a lot of the more
important things are in there, and including a small storehouse of dried meats that you have kept there. You have some of your food. I'm going to remind both of you, though, your entire community has about 1 week of rations right now. So by taking this, even though it was your private stash, you're making a choice.
We're making a choice to put our best foot forward to find the bunker. That week won't mean anything. Giving all of this to them won't mean anything. That'll be what? Another 3 days? It's bunker or nothing.
I mean, you're right, we're gambling at this point. If we find nothing down there, I don't know that we'll have time to send scouts out for more food, or... I mean...
We'll have to move on. If we don't find it, we'll have to leave here.
It's true.
I don't want them to win. They don't get to win. That's not how this works.
At this point, we don't even know if there's anything down there. If there is, great. If there's not, then yes, we need to make quick work of this and leave. All right, let's take this then. For us to try to save this community.
This is for all of us. We take this now, and tenfold will be paid back. And if not, it won't matter anyway. Achira starts loading up their packs and has an additional smaller pack that she's going to give to Blossom, Bebe, and TV.
You've packed up everything that you can gather. The two of you begin making your way towards the south gate with DT and Sugar. Is anyone else coming with you?
I feel like I would have asked either Iz or Rickett to come with us.
Who would you like to come with you? Both of them have different skill sets.
Okay.
Iz is a little more dangerous to bring along because they are the best at the animal husbandry that happens within the space. So like taking care of all of the horses, taking care of the livestock and the other animals. Iz is the most knowledgeable and has been teaching many people, but because of her time with the cavalry, her skill set is very set. However, if you find yourself in open land, is going to be invaluable. Rickett, on the other hand, is the last person that you have within your community that you probably trust to be able to repair a radio, fix a vehicle if you actually find something that you can get to run. Any of those things are what Rickett would be able to do for you. So I'm going to leave that choice to you as to which of those two you would ask.
So someone who's slightly more expendable, or someone who can help us fix what we find down there, who might die. That's good.
Might not die.
We'll see.
Neither of them are expendable, but
People aren't expendable.
you're certainly thinking like a Citadel soldier, though.
How much time is left in the game? I'm going to choose Rickett with the optimism that we are going to find something there that is... If all this stash is there, there's got to be equipment, there's got to be technology down there, and I don't know a lot about that.
All right. So you bring Rickett along with you, and the older woman kind of gathers up her packs and her material and the weapons that she has. She doesn't have any ammunition, so she does not have a firearm unless you wish to give her one.
I give her, I have two, I believe. I have a long gun and I have a pistol. I give her the long gun.
All right.
With ammunition.
Would we have found a melee weapon in Polly's stash? I mean, Polly's predominantly a melee person. I mean, to also so that Rickett has that instead of just relying on the gun.
Well, there has been an additional supply donation to Pine Haven, so that makes a total of 3 that have been gifted, which puts you tied with Babylon. That said, the windfall of that drop is going to happen in real time. So you don't currently, you have weapons, you have some other things that you can give. Anything within these stacks that I've given you, you're free to share.
Okay.
Otherwise, you don't have anything available without taking something from somebody else.
No, we have what's here, and then that's more than enough.
Yeah, I've got a lot of cartridges, so I think that's okay to.
You have a lot of loose ammunition that was given to you in boxes by the Citadel. Effectively, they gave you their trash.
Of course they would. Do we have I know Achira's mind is like, okay, so we've got food. Do we have water of some kind? You can last for a long time without food. This she knows, but also like.
Yeah, we have a canteen we can take. We have.
Okay, so
We
we'll
have
load up on
MREs
those.
actually, but I'll leave those with the community. Oh, we have painkillers for you.
Yeah, I think Achira's gonna probably need that. Right, and she also has the antibodies that she's taking now.
All right, yes, you are still wounded. Both of you are still wounded. So you gather yourselves up and you begin making your way into Southgate. You walk past the barricades that have been erected in the metal grating that has been sort of cobbled together. Barbed wire has been brought in here. Old metal drums have been set out and filled with flammable lumber that you've placed in there with that's been doused in some old, not useful diesel that you can light on fire as you move through. In the case of an emergency, none of these have been lit yet, but as you start to push through, you have a couple of options. I'll come back to you as you begin making your way into the South Gate. I do want to tell you before I leave the two of you that you are now in a location hazard. And I'm spending 50 risk.
All right, that's cool.
Elsewhere, Luis, Lampwick sees a strange child of his ripping the innards out of this armored figure. It was perfectly white, and in the snow you almost missed them. But you can see the shattered helmet now. Even though it's some form of gas mask, it looks like a skull. And there are markings on it. You see a black heart with what look like a series of letters and numbers strung across it as if it was some sort of marking. And whatever this is that your child has found, as it shrieks and tears with its elongated hands into this thing, like trying to break into a strange piece of fruit, as hot steam billows off of the gore. Whatever this person was, they were living.
Am I certain that they are no longer living?
They are ripped in half.
Okay, I will accept that.
You've seen stranger things, certainly in your state, but I'll leave it to you to make that decision.
My other, I guess, children, any of them lurking around, aside from the one that's tearing this one apart?
One of them is splayed out on the ground in a puddle of black bile. Its head exploded outward, only the neck remains. You see another of your children crawling across the tree. Their entire upper body has been sheared with what looks like heavy gunfire. And you see something end over end fly out of the tree line next to it.
Heading in our direction?
Heading in the direction of your child.
I'm going to shout to them to move.
Make a command roll.
That's 5 successes.
5 successes.
Yeah.
They,
Without my bonus, it's 5 successes.
So you will not be using any competency.
No.
That's a critical success. As you shout out, you don't say words. You roar. As this slow build in your cry echoes through the tree line, and all of your children that are still standing, the 2 of them, stop and turn and immediately start bounding towards you, just as the grenade hits the ground and explodes. There's a flash of bright light. I need you to make a dodge roll.
That's not bad. That's 1 degree of failure, but I will move that up to 3 successes. So that requires 4 competency points, right?
Are you spending your own or the group communal points?
How many do we have left? 12. I'm going to spend 1 of my own and 3 communal.
So with that, there are now 9 remaining points in the group pool. They will go fast, don't worry. You roll back as snow and dirt flies into the air and you are unaffected by the explosion. Another of your children, however, is not so lucky and is incinerated by the blast. You lose sight of them. The third and final, however, is quite nimble and has, with 5 degrees of success, leapt into a tree and shrieks in victory at the fire. As you land at the base of the tree,
I'm gonna roar a command to fight, and I'm pointing in the direction that I believe that grenade came from, and I'm gonna flank.
Okay, so if you're trying to be stealthy, I need you to make a stealth roll. Again, with that 5 degrees of success, I'm not going to have you make another command roll. Effectively, you are controlling this mutated Romero as it leaps from tree to tree. It starts moving with unbelievable swiftness as branches break and it shatters limbs and pine needles spray everywhere as it bounds through the snowy treetops towards the direction that you've indicated. Make your stealth roll and add 2 black difficulty dice, please.
My approach is going to be the opposite. Going to draw attention as I go in the opposite direction. I'm counting on my children to get the jump as I grab the attention.
You have 1 of these children left to you, and you're making your way through, and if you wish to draw attention to you, I'd like for you to make an expression roll. As you try your hardest to not reveal that you are hoping that someone follows you, that your maneuver feels genuine and not like a trap.
It's 1 degree of failure. Oh no, it's 2 degrees of failure. Oh boy. I need to make this 1 degree of success, so I need to use 3 competency. I'm gonna use, there's 9 left in the pool. I'm going to use 2 of mine and 1 from the pool.
1 more from the pool leaves 8 remaining competency points in the pool.
That gets me to 1, but if this is a diplomacy roll that activates Weedle, then that
Not a diplomacy roll.
Then it is.
You are not
Just
in
1.
any sort of discourse with the individuals that are hunting you and your people.
Darn it.
You are, in fact, hoping that they believe your ploy.
Mm-hmm.
So you have 1 degree of success. Would you like to do anything else about that?
Oh man. I'm gonna take 1 more for the pool. Make it
7
2.
remain in the pool.
Dang.
And that's only 2 degrees of success, and I'm sorry, my friend, the blaze of gunfire is not at you, but at the child of yours that is breaking through the trees. And this spray of powerful assault rifle fire flashes in the night, and black bile drips down as you see the long-limbed figure of your misanthropic child drop from the tree like a rock and hit the ground, twitching. As it stops moving.
If the attention wasn't on me, and I can determine where I think that was, then I'm going to pivot and lunge into using that as a distraction and flipping my tactics. I'm now going to take advantage of that moment and leap in.
You can make a jump leap and not be concerned about your own security, or you can make a stealth and protect yourself, but perhaps not land with the same amount of force.
3 of my children have now died.
Yes.
I'm going to let myself lose it completely.
You are intentionally failing a composure roll?
Absolutely. I'm letting everything I have come out to the surface.
You're sitting by the campfire. It's burning and it's warm. And in your arms is the small, beautiful, perfect child that you've named Isabel. She looks at you with clear, beautiful eyes and coos, reaching up with her chubby hand towards your beard. What do you do?
I take that hand and I hold it.
Sitting across from the fire, you find that you're not alone as the figures move about in this community. Their faces are blurred still, but you see Polly sitting there. Not Polly that you know now, but a different Polly. Different Polly.
Do I know it to be Polly?
It looks like the same person that you saw at Three Rivers. Brighter, perhaps more hopeful. She isn't moving, she's staring at you, smiling broadly.
I stand up with the baby in my hand and I start to approach.
She just smiles, ear to ear. Her eyes are empty and glassy. Do you get closer?
I do.
The child coos again. But as you step closer, Isabel begins crying. Polly doesn't stop smiling.
Will you hold my baby?
Without breaking the insane smile on her face, she takes your child.
I stab her in the head.
The knife appeared in your hand so quickly. It's Polly's head jerks to the side, but she doesn't break the smile and just turns to look up at you.
Stab it again.
Again, you've removed her eye and you see skull, but she won't stop smiling.
I throw her
at
in the
you.
fire.
You push her into the fire. You're with her. She grabs onto you, still smiling. You're both on fire as Isabel screams and cries, and you're inside together with Polly now in the burning Winnebago where you found your daughter dead, murdered by the bikers that had marauded this place, destroyed the community, killed everyone you knew. Abel, Francis, all of them dead and desecrated next to you as Polly's ruined face smiles silently at you. Polly, you're on a porch. You don't hear anything, but that music, it has to have been real. You felt it. You heard it? It was in this vacuum that you've lived in since you woke back up. The door is open to this dilapidated 2 or 3 story old building that has been covered in vines and a tree is jutting out of one side. The door is open and it's dark, and Spike is looking up at you and trying to back away. But inside of Spike's pouch, you find a number of items. Mm-hmm. Is there anything that you would like to use?
Is there any kind of broken branch or something around me that I can take up and use? I have the bushcraft ability and some gauze, and I would like to try to make a makeshift torch.
You do so. Gathering together a broken piece of wood is easy enough. You wrap it in the gauze and you light it on fire. I believe you do have everything that you
small
need.
toolkit, and yeah.
It sparks, and there's now a small fire that you're carrying, and Spike is still pulling away from that house.
I'm going to lean down to Spike. Okay. I don't know if you can understand, but we have to go in. And if you hear anything, and I tug on the bottom of my pant leg like he's been doing. Like that, yeah. Good boy.
Spike nuzzles your hand, pushes close to you, licks you, and then turns and bravely follows you in.
In we go.
You don't hear the floors creak, but you feel it. Everything here is old and heavy. You step into what was once a parlor. There's a ruined piano that has been gutted. Molded old curtains are rotten. Years, perhaps even before the fall, this place might have been ruined. Peeling wallpaper reveals slatted wood boards and plaster. The whole place smells like a forest, like mushrooms, like death. There's something dead here, like something permeating from the walls. You feel the vibrations of the floor underneath. Again, every other one of your senses is on fire. And that brief music, it was the first thing that you've heard since you were awakened here in this nightmare.
It's why I've got to go in. Polly is so numb with everything that's been happening. There comes a point where everything just shuts off. But that sound, I have to find out what made that sound.
Make a spot listen roll for me.
Okay.
And Polly, you're in a location hazard.
I really wish that meant something for me. Okay.
Wow.
That is a 4. My spot listen is 33, so that is 2 degrees of success.
2 degrees of success, of course you aren't listening, you're only seeing, but your eyes immediately adjust to the darkness around you. If you would like to do better than 2 degrees of success, you may spend competency to do so. It is still not over though.
Right.
And I've just rolled a 4 as well.
I see that.
I do see that. I have 4 of my own left.
That's correct.
I have 2 degrees of success. I'd like to spend 1 of my own and 2 in the pool to make it a critical success.
2 from the pool,
Yes.
and you've made that a critical success.
Yes.
The communal pool is starting to burn away.
Yep.
There are 7 remaining. Your eyes adjust, as I said. It's very dark, musky. Spike stands very close to you and starts circling around, sniffing the floor, and you can tell that he's growling, but you don't see what he's growling at, as it seems to get even darker as the moonlight sort of disappears in the room. What do? Someone's in here with you.
Do I see where the person is?
You whip around and just catch a glimpse of a shadow. The shutters have been closed behind you. You didn't hear them. Now there's no light from outside, and the door that you entered in through is also closed. You hear nothing, but you see just a glimmer of a shadow as it darts into the hallway to your left.
They didn't attack me. They only closed the blinds and the door. So I am running forward to try to push the torch to get a look at what they...
You run forward, and you find a very small vestibule. It's a small room with another door that leads into what looks like shattered tile, and you see an overturned old ice box. It's a very old refrigerator. You've seen them before. In fact, they're valuable. Survivors often are able to make them function by taking ice and snow and packing it inside of these machines. It keeps food better for longer. It's overturned, and the door is open, and you see there is a dead animal, the carcass of it dried out as if it had nested there and then just curled up and died.
Do I catch this person closing the door ahead of me?
They didn't close the door. They ran through it.
Keep going.
You step into the dining room, and as you get close to the icebox that I've described, the dead creature raises its head and looks at you with empty sockets. It was once a possum, but now it's more skeletal than anything. As the desiccated creature stands, and immediately Spike leaps forward and attacks it. Biting into it, you see the two wrestling. You're standing in the kitchen, this dining room. There's a shattered table and chairs and tile broken everywhere, and there are things hanging from the ceiling. They look like bundles of herbs, and they're low and tethered together with sticks and rocks and effigies that look like a man made out of sticks. What would you like to do?
Why the fuck does he have this? Can I go back very quickly and try to help Spike?
How would you like to do that?
All I have is my torch right now, but I would like to take the, if they're too tangled up, I'm not going to risk hurting him, but I'd like to take the end of the torch and try to slam it down into the creature.
Let's have you make a brawl check, please.
Okay.
As you slam the end of this torch down into the creature on the ground. It doesn't look like it's scratched or bit Spike yet, but if it does, it could kill Spike.
Okay. Fuck. That is 2 degrees of failure. Fuck it. I'm gonna use my last 3 to make that 1 success.
With 1 degree of success and 1 only, you manage to bash the creature off of Spike. However, it's rolled a 3 and has 5 degrees of success on attacking you. You can attempt a dodge to mitigate that, but I'm going to tell you right now, even though it's just a dead possum, its bite can be just as deadly as a Romero.
Yeah, I'd like to try to dodge that.
There are 10 competency points currently in the pool. Also, there have been 3 rallies that have previously been spent. These have all gone into Pine Haven.
Okay.
However, if any rallies are expended for Babylon, it may not work in your favor.
Even though Polly's a member of Pine Haven?
If anyone expends a rally for Babylon,
It's against.
It's
it
Babylon.
may not be good for Polly.
Yeah. Oh god. Fuck.
That's 4 degrees of failure.
It's okay. We can fix it.
You have 10 competency that you can expend in the dining room as you've stepped through 2 rooms of this house.
Yeah, I know it's 2 rooms of the house, Knox. I understand the situation I'm in. 4 degrees of failure. Of course it was saving the fucking dog. Even if I had a degree of success, this thing had a critical success on trying to hit me, correct?
It currently has a critical success. If you have successes, you will lessen that so that it's not a critical. You most likely will create what is called a degree of difference, which means that this attack will be lessened. Just so you know,
Right.
oftentimes I could
Helpful.
expend those critical successes on things like bites or very deadly attacks. Viral infections, for instance.
And a bite doesn't mean what we think it means. I'm not speaking
some
for
of you.
specific characters, but I mean like there have been, it depends on where.
Looking at
And you are in the place where they might be able to do something if there's anyone, but you'd owe them.
You have competency points that you can use to mitigate
I
this.
got it.
It's up to you.
Yeah.
You can choose
Oh,
not to use
man.
them because you think things are going to get worse, but a critical success on this bite
yeah,
is
that's
probably
real bad.
not a good choice.
Okay. I'm so sorry, y'all.
We'll be fine.
Wait,
Oh, what's the worst that could happen?
They are at 11 now.
I'm so sorry. I'm going to use 5 points.
6 remaining then. You just barely fall backwards over a broken chair as this thing leaps over your head and hits the wall. It falls to the ground and is twitching. Spike is growling but doesn't attack it again. The dead possum doesn't move.
All right, buddy. We're gonna go around, and we are gonna give that thing a wide berth, even if it's not moving.
On the map here, you can see that the kitchen lies ahead of you. The rest of the appliances, an old sink, wash basin, and a door that seems to lead out, are in that direction. Broken boxes and crates are covered in heavy amounts of dust, and there's what looks like the skeletal remains of a human being spread out here. It is not moving, and you don't believe that it will. It looks as though a metal spike, 5 feet in length, has been driven through its head, tethering it to the floor.
Oh. Is there anything else in this room that could be useful to me? Or am I just seeing the spike?
There is the spike in the middle of the room, but it is a kitchen. You might be able to find a knife if you go in. There is a staircase with missing steps to your right.
Actually, hold on. This area is where I saw the icebox, correct?
No.
In the
room that
dining
you're in.
room. Can I want to go into the kitchen, but before that, can I push the icebox against the stairs?
You can.
I would like to do that.
All I need from you is for you to make a roll for me.
What's that roll?
A lift pull.
Okay.
Ooh, our favorite.
And
Right.
given what you've been through and the amount of cold that is still worked through your body, you're still shivering. I'm going to give you 1 black die of difficulty. I'd also like for you to roll 2 blue speed die because you're not alone.
Great. Cool. Yep. Awesome.
Oh, I'm so scared for you.
Yeah, me too.
For new viewers, the last time we were in a
Okay,
house like
okay,
this-
okay, okay. 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 Not as good.
Oh,
All right. So that is my lift pole is a 28. I got a 2 on the die, so that's a 29.
So 1 degree of failure, you are pulling at this ice box and you are currently not moving it. That's all that happens, unless you would like to spend competency points.
Absolutely not. I go into that kitchen.
I will say that with your 1 degree of failure, though, you can't hear it, but you feel the vibration of the noise that you've made as you've pulled this heavy piece of metal across the floor before realizing that it's far too big for you to move. I'm taking 20 risk.
Into the kitchen we go.
You start moving towards the kitchen, and you step in, and I'll come back to you. Achira and Faith, the barricades are behind you, and you're walking through the darkened corridors. It's getting close to morning now. Pale light is streaming through the ruined second-story skylights. There are still overhangs that have other shops looking down and broken railing. You pass by an area that once had elevators, but for a very long time now they've been half pried open and empty of any sort of carriage. Just the cables are inside of it. You see blocked off storefronts, hastily covered, and there's a carousel in the center of all of this with a menagerie of old, broken animals. They don't move, of course. This has been inoperable since the fall. But even though it's tilted, the animals are all still there in front of you, ringing around each other eternally. What would you like to do?
First off, I want to say we are in formation.
Mm-hmm. In a location hazard. After I had spent 50 risk.
So this is a part of the mall that we don't normally go into, right? But this is the best way to get to where we were before to start looking?
If you're going to go back to where that break room was, you either go this way or you use tunnels that are along the back hallways. They're much more narrow, with no ways to escape should anyone find you there. It's the way that dial-up often used, but it depends on what you're trying to accomplish.
So we go the safer way.
And you're not fully unfamiliar with Southgate, you just don't spend time here. It's more like a dangerous road that you don't walk through at night.
Do we know which way to go to start to approach the area? Do we use the elevator shaft or?
If you were going to continue on this pathway, the 2 of you, or the 4 of you if we're counting Sugar, are going to make your way up to this area here, from here, which is about where you are now. I'll just put a chair there. And you just have to make your way up to a series of stairwells that lead up to the second story. And from the second story, you can move through an old pizzeria into the break room that Achira found. Again, no one had spent time, you didn't know that that break room was a storehouse for dial-up. This is all new information to all of you. You didn't know that one of the wildlings was hiding and stashing away material.
Okay, so we move forward. Brickett, I know, just don't mind Sugar back there. She's harmless.
Friendly. Yeah.
Not harmless.
that's-
Just leave her alone. She'll be fine.
If she starts getting agitated, we might want to start looking for Romero's. She seemed to sense them.
Oh.
She's
little-
good at that. She'll tell us if there are others nearby.
Well,
Should we have Sugar go first?
I'm gonna go first. I'll put Sugar in the front. Sugar can just follow behind me.
Make a spot
I've,
listen,
I've got
please.
your back.
Okay.
Make a spot listen.
That's 1 degree of failure. I'm gonna use.
Oh man.
Let's see.
Yeah.
I'll use 2 of my personal competency to bring that to 1 degree of success.
I have 2 degrees of failure. I'm gonna let it ride.
1 degree of success.
Yes, 1.
Just 1.
Yep. What? Yep. What? Oh. Well, hold on. How many are left in the pool?
Well, it's like
6,
we don't
okay.
we don't know yet. So it's not that, but it's just like
It's okay if you don't see something. I'm just confirming that you
yeah.
want to ride on a single success and Achira is failing.
Oh God.
God. Okay. I'll
Okay,
use,
you know what?
I'm gonna use another
Fine.
one. No, I'll
it's-
succeed better.
no,
and you
it's-
you do nothing. It's fine.
It's fine.
No, 'cause we'll waste
but
more
it's
that
going
way.
to take me 3.
No. Just let me use 1 more, and I'll have 2.
This is Nox's revenge
It's
for
fine.
us coming in with so much competency.
Achira fails. I'm gonna go in with
We need more.
I don't have
with 3
any
degrees of
abilities
success
I can-
instead. So I'll use.
2 of the competency points, leaving 2 in the pool. Is that right? Or
I'll
do
use
you
my
have-
personal.
You have personal still.
So I'll have 2 left after that.
All right.
Okay, so how many of the pool are we using?
6. None.
All six.
None.
None.
All 6 are
Okay.
still in the pool.
Yeah.
Okay.
You almost miss it, Faith. A tripwire.
Okay, everyone
You
hold.
feel the tug on your boot, and you pull back just in time. It was very well placed. Someone knew what they were doing. You've dealt with explosives ever since you were a child. Riggs, Rowan, the others taught you well. This was a very professional setup. And someone was expecting someone else to come this way. It doesn't look like dial-up. Dial-up was ragged and rough and quick and dirty, and there were tin cans and broken wires and other things that would have immediately let you know that it was her work. This was almost invisible, and you just barely saw it.
Okay, everyone mind this perilous trap that I just found. I put a couple of rocks in a line in front of it so people can see where to step over. And just DT, if you can make sure Sugar doesn't stumble over the wire, that would
Step high
be
over
great.
it.
What does it do?
Probably kill one of us or all of us. Maybe explode, maybe send things tumbling down on us. We don't know, but it's
But
not
we need to be very alert from here on out because I didn't expect for anyone. This is a very open area.
DT skips over the wire and calls out to Sugar. Come on, Sugar. You can do it. It's easy. Just jump over.
I spot Sugar. Can I just kind of do that thing where I kind of...
You can make a lift pull to support Sugar's.
Yes, my favorite roll of them all. I don't know why I'm doing this. That's 1 degree of failure.
That's okay.
Is
Sugar has 4 degrees of success.
Oh my god.
And almost in some grim marionette parody of DT, her dead body leaps quickly over the wire, her arms not moving at all, and just sort of looks at you as you have your arms out, and then turns, and her tongue is hanging out, and her dead eyes are staring right in your face, Faith. And you smell her as you nearly throw up in your mouth.
Good job. Great. And Rickett is still there with us as well.
Yeah, Rickett doesn't have any problems.
Yeah.
Cool.
I wonder what Sugar was like alive.
This was some pro work here.
Yeah.
I've seen some good tripwires in my day, but I gotta say, whoever did this knew what they were doing.
Would this, I mean, obviously Faith grew up like Citadel, but Achira was on the darker side of a whole lot of things. Would this work have reminded her of anybody that she had known in her past? Because that's malicious.
There are people who would do this. If anything, it reminds you of a refined version of the Marauders. They had many tripwires that they used, but it wasn't this clean.
I think this might be those same people. Think about it. They dressed as silent sentinels. They hide tripwires like the Marauders did.
They also ate people for fun, so
I'm not saying they're the Marauders. And besides, you beat the holy hell out of that entire encampment. Rightly so. I'm wondering who these people are. It's like they're taking the best out of each of these communities. And for some reason, they're focused on us.
Well, we found a trap, so we know that means we're getting close to something important, at least.
I was distracted before, but I'm here now.
Okay.
Let's get this done.
We continue on.
Your group moves forward. I'd like for you all to make search checks.
Gonna use my recon gear.
Yeah. That is a 9 over 43.
I got it's kind of a wash, but it's like it was 9, so that's like a wash because 10's a failure.
Wash is a failure in this game, so that is 0 successes.
And I had 3.
I will do competency points. I will utilize 3 of my own, which will make it 3 degrees of success.
Okay. And you, Faith?
I had 3 successes.
So with 6 total degrees of success, you only need 5 collectively. You see your pathway, and there are other tripwires, and they're all placed very well.
I deliberately mark each one with stones or debris, so that if we come back this way in a hurry, we can see them.
They seem to be increasing in frequency the closer you get to some of these back hallways, these access tunnels that are used or were used for maintenance within the mall. You see a pair of double doors, and it's been chained shut. The chain and the lock look new.
Was this the way to get to...
Okay.
There's a stack of boxes, crates, piled in front of the door as well.
This reminds me of when we were outside of Dial-Up's break room. There were a stack of boxes there.
And the dog
They
inside.
treated them like there might be a bomb in it. It might be camouflage. I'd like to roll to search this to see if this is more of a camouflage type of a situation, or if there's something sticking out of the back of them or the whatnot.
While you're searching this, I'm going to allow you to make a very pointed spot listen check.
Which one of us?
That's for Achira.
Okay.
And then you're searching through your pack, trying to find material that'll help you get through that very thick chain.
Yep.
Oh man, is Ricketts any good at picking locks? By the way, please.
I ain't good at picking locks, but I could probably cut through it if we had enough time.
How much time?
I don't know, 20 minutes?
Okay.
It ain't gonna be quiet. I mean, a hacksaw on that's gonna make a lot of racket.
I can make a lot of racket and just shoot it off.
Yeah, we could do that as well. Achira, how did you do on your
1
spot?
degree of failure.
Okay.
None of my dice are working. Okay.
I don't know that I agree.
You took all the good rolls, Knox. Okay. 2 out of the community pool.
Leaving 4.
1 from mine.
All right. And so that puts you at 2 degrees of success?
Yeah.
You think it's just camouflage. You think these boxes are just meant to slow you down. However, with 2 degrees of success, I will say the question comes up in your mind, why? We'll be back with you. Lampwick, you open your eyes. Your shoulder, you feel very dull pain, like 1,000 miles away. And you look down and you realize that you look like something has nearly sheared your arm off, and there is bone and ribs, and you're looking down at a black mass of flesh that's writhing. You're covered in your own black bile, and you feel the tentacles pulling themselves back down your throat into the core of your body, and you feel your eyes start to flicker as it looks as if you were seeing reds and blues and greens and all these beautiful colors that were dancing around, and you're looking down and you're watching as those colors fade on a body below you. Another armored figure. The armor has been peeled back like an onion, and you see what remains of their chest and an open beating heart in your hand. What do you do?
I eat it.
And as you do, you see the colors fade and the world looks like it did before, and for you now the world is sort of black and white, muted, desaturated. And you miss the colors and you realized you were seeing the heat of the body and the heat of everything around you. And now that your eyes, you feel them, you know that they're no longer pitch black, and the warm heart enters into your mouth as your mouth returns back to your human form. And you feel strength. Your arm isn't functioning, it's hanging dead to your side, but you don't really feel it now. And you're standing, trees shattered by the explosion. Both of these armored figures are dead, and you hear nothing else. You see nothing else. But you see their belt, the packs on their sides, the guns that have been splayed across this grove. And there's a red blinking light that you're staring at on that belt.
I'm getting the hell out of there.
As it speeds up.
Booking it as fast as I can.
All I need you to do is make a dodge roll.
Oh, man. Oh. Can I negotiate an endurance roll?
I thought you were going to ask if you could negotiate with the bomb.
How many competency do you have remaining?
I personally have 1.
If you give me that competency, I'll let you make an endurance instead of a dodge.
Okay, I'll take it.
And we do have a number of survival points, as our community pool is very...
You
Yes.
do, but you still have competency points, and until they're gone, I won't allow you to negotiate with those.
We have
more.
They
4.
can be used to buy resources and tools for your
Yeah.
community when the time comes.
They're really good for those.
Okay.
You really don't want to be using them for competency, but
we
by all
don't.
means, do what you like. Go ahead and make an endurance roll. Give me your last competency point, and let's see how you do. There are 4 remaining in the
crap.
pool.
Oh, what'd you do?
Well, at least it's not as bad as it would have been, that's for sure. It's 3 degrees of failure instead of a completely critical failure.
And you have no competency remaining.
I have no competency remaining.
You have 4 competency points that you could take from the pool and give yourself 1 degree of success.
Oh my gosh.
Chad is telling you to take it.
It's close to 9 o'clock, but I have no qualms about bringing just a little more story to us before we end.
I'd take those 4 to get a success.
You have 1 degree of success, and you actually absorb the explosion and the heat as you run forward. And instead of trying to get out of the way, you feel your enlivened body, having just fed, take this blast. And it doesn't stop you. You feel fire burn across you, but you also feel your flesh pulling itself back and shielding itself and knitting itself back together as it burns. As black bile pours forth from your mouth as you vomit and throw yourself forward. You land and you're smoldering, but you look down and you can move your arm. And the bones are knit back together on your ribs, and you're watching as your flesh is grabbing onto itself and stitching itself back together. But what is left behind doesn't look like your skin. It's a twisted, strange mass of scarring, as if it were piled on top of itself in all the wrong ways. You've seen flesh like this once before on the creature that hunted Achira. Polly, we're not done with you yet.
Hello.
You're standing inside of this abandoned house. You step into the kitchen. You see the skeletal remains of a person with the metal spike 5 feet in length driven through their head. It pierces through the tiles and through the wood, and you see 2 doors. They're open and broken here, shutters on one of them. It looks like what was once a pantry, shelves shattered. The other looks like some sort of canning room. There are broken glass jars, old, decayed everywhere. There's a smell in here. It smells like rotten vegetation. And you can't hear it, but you feel vibrations behind you as the wood floor under your feet moves. What do you do?
Moves like there's someone behind me.
Do you look?
No. What I do, I've made noise. There's someone behind me. I say, your father wants me here. And then I turn.
You turn, and you don't hear, but you feel movement of air as something darts up the stairs, and you feel the creaking. And the vibrations were, something was on all fours. Spike is growling in front of you protectively, although you cannot hear it.
Just hold out the torch a little further in front of me and say, even though I can't hear it, your father wanted me to come back. I'm back.
There's that warm sound again, not in your ears, but inside your head. The sound of a wax cylinder rotating, clicking. You've heard this noise before in a community so long ago where there were generators and people had salvaged these old discs that held music, but you hear that warm, cracking noise as the music fills you for a moment and then disappears. And it's gone again, and you're in silence and emptiness, and you're staring up the staircase. What would you like to do?
No. And I run up the stairs.
You run up the stairs. Spike follows after you. You're on the second floor now. You're in a hallway. And you see that shadow. Just the glimpse of what might be a dress or a leg to your right. There are other doors and rooms behind you, but whatever this was just ran up another set of stairs into what looks like an attic. There's a trap door that's open up the stairwell. The shadow moved into that space.
Polly's not stupid. She knows this is probably a trap.
Spike is growling and pulling at your pant leg.
She goes.
There is one single competency point that has been placed within the pool just now. As you step up the staircase, there are broken steps here. There's something on the third step up, though. You didn't see it before. It's a corn husk doll.
I reach down and pick it up.
It's been crudely crafted, carved like a girl's face. The sheath of the corn has been pulled down to make a dress. Do you continue up the stairs?
Holding it in front of me. Yes.
As you reach the top of the attic, there's a large window. Shutters have been broken and partially cover it. There's moonlight that sort of spills out here. The torchlight burns around you as Spike stays close to you. There are all of these old rotten boxes, old dresses hanging from the ceiling. It's hard to see, but you are afraid that if you keep walking with your torch, you'll set this place on fire.
Fuck. I'm going to stop for a moment and say, I can't come any further, so you have to come to me.
You see further down towards that window, a shadowed figure darts across your field of vision, and you hear that wax cylinder. It's just on the other side. It's close by. As the music starts to rise up and then goes completely silent again. You feel Spike pulling your leg, trying to pull you back down the steps. Small, scrappy mutt is desperately trying to get you to follow back down the stairs. What do you do?
I just want to go home.
As the music starts up again, it stops. The figure darts again. What do you do?
I'm sorry. And I walk back.
The hatch slams shut. Both you and Spike are still in the attic. The torch blows out. You are in the darkness. And you hear the music again. And you hear a voice.